right now is 1.9 months of supply. Do we know what that means?
We
It's
still have
it's
up to 6
a
months.
seller's
I
market,
mean, we can have anything.
seller's,
What does months of supply mean?
seller's market or buyer's market.
Inventory. We only have a month, close to 2 months of supply.
At the current rate that homes are being absorbed by buyers. If no new homes come on the market, everything would be gone in 1.9 months.
Less than 2 months.
Right, so less than 2 months of supply. Nationally, 6 months is considered a neutral market. Above that is buyers.
Right.
Below that is sellers. Now, what I want you to look at is go to the max,
Go to,
right here, where it says 5 years.
where is that?
Oh,
Right
just
here.
above
Oh,
it.
right here.
Yes.
Mhm.
Select that and go to max. Now, when was the last time we had more than 6 months of supply?
Right.
It was around here somewhere. So it would have been May
May
of
of
2011. Over 20 years, 12 years, over 12 years ago. So you can see we've averaged 5 months or less in the past couple of years. It's been under 5. We haven't seen a seller's market here in forever. And so that 6 months of supply may just be what nationally, that's what it is. Here,
Sellers market.
Buyer's market.
well,
You said we haven't seen a seller's market in forever.
we haven't seen a buyer's market.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. We haven't seen a buyer's market. It's been a seller's market for a while, but here's the distinction. What was going on, go to 1 year. Okay, now what happened here in
This was
June?
June of 2022.
It went to 2.1, whereas in February or May, April over here, we were at less than 2. So we went from a month and a half of supply up to almost 3 months of supply. So for our area, that became a buyer's market.
That was because the interest rates had.
Correct. Right, because the interest rates have an impact on that. And buyers stepped away. I can tell you, I had buyers I was working with that when they went from 3 to 7, they went away.
They bailed.
They bailed. And the buyers that I got into contract and closed this month, and another one I got into contract only know the 5-6%. And I've had less competition getting them into housing.
Yes.
So we just finished a buyer's market. I think we're heading into another seller's market as interest rates go down. And it's gonna be back to where we were. It's gonna be multiple offers. So if there are buyers that are on the fence,
They better go now.
it'd be
Yeah.
a great idea for them to look now. Inventory should be increasing as we approach spring. Historically, that's what happens. Who knows if that'll happen or not.
Can I ask, it's reasonable to explain to buyers that as the rates drop, the difference of the rate being lower compared to the likely higher price you'll have to pay for a home because there are more offers.
Right.
It's a more logical idea to purchase now.
Right.
Is that a logical assumption? Or it depends on the situation, obviously.
It
but like,
really
that's
doesn't
what-
depend. Then you're talking, I'm gonna get a spreadsheet and do some math.
Yeah,
And you can do that.
I don't even know if I can.
I don't know if I can even do that
It'd
math.
be
The
cool.
more, the better negotiation, which is our session today,
Oh,
is to explain that, look, at 3%, there were 10 offers on virtually every property. And you, Mr. and Mrs. Buyer at 3% that are still looking, were you able to get a property? No, because you were competing with cash buyers, with whatever, so
Yeah.
you were in competition. So you couldn't get a house. Yes, interest rates are higher. Yes, your monthly payment would be higher. Maybe you can afford less house now. And you can get the house. There's less competition. I have a buyer in contract. Property was listed at $779. You're in contract at $750,500. 28,000 below their list price. And even in being in competition with somebody else. So it is possible now for a buyer to win. As rates go down, that will become less likely or less possible.
That's
But it's
awesome.
And that
still
would
a
make
win,
it important.
because the seller probably purchased it at $250, so there's still
The summer still wins.
winning.
The seller's not losing. If they bought it 2 or more years ago, which why should everybody wait at least 2 years when they purchased the primary residence?
Something about capital gain. No.
Right, yes, you gotta know this one, people. You gotta know this one. Yeah, there's a lot to know. I don't know very well.
Why would you come?
Would you ever suggest that someone sell their property if they don't need to, short of their primary residence, short of 2 years? You're from Canada, you may not know this.
Yeah, I don't even understand.
Those of you that are from the US, it doesn't make sense for a owner of a primary residence to sell their house short of 2 years.
No,
And why not?
That's what you're saying.
I know it has to do with capital gains, but I don't know how.
And then you have an exemption of the exemption of $250 per person out of a married couple.
This is one thing you want to know, because you can, this is being knowledgeable and being a resource and being of value to people.
Being it.
That's right. And especially, but here's something I wrote, okay, the rule is, if you own or occupy a primary residence 2 of the last 5 years, you get 250 of capital gains tax-free if you're single, 500,000 if you're married.
Oh, right,
So that if you have a gain of 500,000 or less over 2 years and you're married, you can sell your property and you don't pay capital gains on that 500,000. So what I run into a lot is somebody says, yeah, I'm going to keep my house, I'm purchasing something else, and I'm gonna rent that out. The one out, great, you plan on keeping it long term? Well, I'm not sure, okay, well, here's the great news. You can rent that out for just short of 3 years. If you sell it and it increases in value, you get to take that gain, depending on what it is, tax-free. If you keep it past the 3 years, now it's income property, and if you sell it, you'll be subject to income property tax.
okay. And if you sell it, sorry, if you sell it before 2 years, then you're not.
If you sell it
You don't
for
qualify.
2 years, now, yeah, you don't qualify.
Okay.
Now, there are reasons being, there are, if you, medical, job change, there are certain things that will allow you to prorate and still get some of it, but you don't get all of it.
Hmm.
Right.
And is it just owning, or do you have to have lived in it for a minimum of 2 years?
Own and occupy.
Yeah.
That's the rule. Own and occupy for the last two of the last 5 years. So you can literally live in it for 1 year, leave it for 2 years, come back for 1 year, sell it, and you qualify. But, or you could own it for 2 years, go move someplace else, rent it out for just short of 3 years, sell it, take your gain. The premise behind that, and I believe Clinton initiated that, was to be able to use that equity to leverage up into more properties or other property. So that's the rationale behind that. Okay, so let's talk about negotiating, which I'm sure you're all excited about. Negotiating offers. Before we get into that, how are the calls going to your database and human beings?
Good,
Define
good,
good.
good.
As well as I can, I
Improve.
mean, getting my name out there as much as I possibly can, letting everyone know. And then following up with them, talking to them.
Great. What is your conversation with those humans sounding like?
Usually start off with, you know, the niceties, hello, how are you doing, stuff like that, but then, saying, hey, I'm a realtor in South Bay, anybody who's looking to buy, sell, or invest.
Now, I want to improve that question you're asking,
Mhm,
because when we ask, do you know, the answer is no.
mhm. Well, some of them say yes.
All right, so you've got leads.
Mhm.
Excellent. When are you having buyer consults for listing?
See, that's
appointments with
waiting.
you?
That's what, I'm waiting to get the information. A couple of them had said yes, but
Yeah.
I'm waiting on, but that's just been in the past week.
A better question is, who do you know?
Mhm,
Because, and you will hear it over the phone,
Okay,
or you
you
will
know.
see it when you're face to face with them, they will stop and think. The beauty of who do you know, what, how, or those, requires people to stop and think.
Right.
Yeah. So, and good job doing that.
Mhm.
And then, yeah, and we've got to train people how to teach us how, we have to teach people how to refer business to us.
Mhm.
Because everybody will say, yeah, I'll let them know about you. I'll give them your card, I'll whatever. When I was dropping off a gift at my buyer on Reno Valley on Saturday, who had closed a week ago or so, I asked them, who do you know? Oh, yeah, I've got this friend Lena who's gonna do something. I said, great. Would it be possible for me to reach out to her? Oh, well, I'll be talking to her in the next day or two, so you can follow up with me about that. I'll get permission from them to do that.
Mhm.
So if anybody ever says to you, oh yeah, you know what, this coworker, this friend, this family member, this whatever, yeah, I'll let them know about you. Don't
Right.
end it at that. Because they may let them know about you, they may not, they're gonna forget about you, nothing will happen if they say, I'll let them know about you. And if you ask, may I contact them directly
Okay.
to see if I can be of service to them? Yes, Tim.
I'll just share that I did exactly that yesterday.
And?
No problem.
Yeah.
My friend, she double checked with her friend, it's a referral, potential referral situation out of
Yeah.
the state.
Yeah. Right.
And she was like, yeah, let me find out if he's okay with that, and then I'll get back to you. And I got his number last night,
Yeah.
last night, and I'll call him today, but
And were you scared to death asking that question?
honestly, no.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Well, that's good.
Because I already knew that this is like, I'm more scared to death to ask the question, who do you know? But I already knew
Yeah.
that this was the situation, and so I did not feel uncomfortable saying, would it be okay if you check with him and see if he's okay with you giving me his number, and I'll reach out to him directly.
May I get permission to
Right.
contact them directly?
That would be better.
Absolutely. Understand that is mandatory for anybody, because your friends and family and people who know, like, and trust you are all gonna say, oh yeah, I would absolutely refer you. They're all gonna say that.
Yeah.
And the second you hang up the phone, they've forgotten all about you. We don't go through our lives thinking about how we're gonna help the other people in our lives with their business. We just don't do it. There's some people that believe that they will, and that's nice and cute and everything. You really don't. You don't have time for that. So, yeah, that is key. So thank you for sharing that, and please do that. Anybody else having success with the contacts that they're making with their database?
So I need to follow up with Lisa, whom you forced me to call. Girl,
Yeah.
Yes.
she said she would refer.
Yeah.
and she'd let him know, but I need to contact her and say, hey, Lisa, would you think it would be possible for me to contact your friend directly?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
I'll do that.
absolutely.
I'll do that. Okay,
Yeah, can I get permission to contact them directly?
okay.
And permission is a great word, right? It's not pushy, it's not, hey, I just want to be able to see if I can help them. Just reach out and see if I can help them. So cool, all right, anyone else having success with that? No, okay, so I was notified in the 11th hour that I was teaching this. I have a hard stop right before noon. So we're gonna get through this material and then I'll leave you to do your calls and your lead generation or what have you after that. So let's see what we have here. We, by the end of the day, by the end of this session, you're going to, you will be able to explain negotiating offers, use the 3 Ps approach to negotiation, and recall and practice the key skills of negotiation. That's what we're covering today. And the 3 Ps are prepare, present, position, and tips for successful negotiation. Okay. When you hear the term negotiations, what do you think?
When you hear what?
The term negotiations, what do you think?
Let's make a deal. Let's come to a happy medium.
Like that?
The discussion to agree upon something.
Or maybe not?
Or
Yeah, that there might be some sort of a challenge or obstacle that needs to be discussed further
Mhm.
to get to that win-win.
Well, and I like what you just said there, get to a win-win. Is there a win-win for both parties?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent. And we're actually negotiating every day. Negotiating is not something to be avoided or feared, it's an everyday part of life. When I hear negotiation, it can have, there can be some fear behind it. Well, am I really that good of a negotiator? Well, there's books on negotiation, what have you, or you hear about these high-powered negotiators and media or what have you. Negotiating is going on all the time. If your partner and you can't decide on where you want to eat for dinner or what you want to do that evening, there's a negotiation that occurs.
It's pretty common.
I find with my wife is, do you want to do Chinese or Italian? Either or clothes.
You're such, yeah, that's so you.
Oh, my folks, I love either or clothes. And here's a little trick I learned many years ago. If you're having a hard time deciding to do something, flip a coin. Heads is one thing, tails is the other. Flip a coin, and what will happen is it will force you to make a decision. Because let's say, should we go to the park or should we go to the beach? Well, heads is the beach, tails is the park. And it comes up tails, park, but you really want to go to the beach, then you'll go, you know what, let's just go to the beach. And you can actually use that with clients. And I can't decide if we're going to offer on this one or offer on that one. Well, I would tell you this market offer on both of them. However, well, let's flip a coin. Heads is Elm Street, tails is Sycamore Street. And Elm comes up and they go, you know, we really like Sycamore better. Okay,
Okay.
no problem. Yep.
You just touched on something there. In this market, I'd advise clients to put an offer on both. How does that happen from a contractual perspective? Do you just, if you put an offer on both and one of them responds back, or you come to an agreeable terms, you just, what's it called, take your offer back from the other one?
Woo,
Woo?
woo, WOO, withdrawal of offer.
Withdrawal of offer.
That's a card form. Everybody knows how to get into card forms, by the way?
Yes.
We did that last,
Yeah.
Thanks.
we did that last day, so we didn't do the itinerary and show.
Okay, good. Card forms, that's where all your forms for everything you need to know or do about contracts or what have you. Yeah, and there's a thing called a WOO, which is a withdrawal of offer. So, yeah, you submit your offer and one of them comes back with a counter offer or what have you, you go back and forth, negotiate. Then, and you get acceptance on that, while this one hasn't even responded. Number one, if it's been 3 days, it's expired, so whatever. Although agents completely ignore expiration of offers, completely ignore it. It's as if it does not exist. So there you go. And or you can send them a woo. And say, now we're taking it away. So
Before it's been accepted.
yes, if it's been accepted, have they put a deposit into escrow?
Let's say no.
No. So is it easy, is it difficult to cancel it?
Guess not.
But is it the same thing? It's still a withdrawal of offer, or?
It would be a cancellation at that point. If you have acceptance from the seller, now it's a cancellation. But the only difference is there's no deposit in escrow yet, so it's easy to cancel.
So it isn't that big of a deal to make
Not big.
multiple offers.
Not big of a deal.
Oh, wow.
Some people will, there are some agents that will tell you, oh, that's horrible, I mean, be committed to the property. F that, is that seller committed to my buyer? No. So, yeah, I mean, depending on, when you're in a seller's market, I'm throwing paper all over the place.
I used to, on those 2 offices I worked on, I told my buyers, cause they were looking, I said, hey, if you like both of them, let's put offers in on both.
Mhm.
Because if you're living either one, right, you wanna live in it, they said, I said, let's put offers in on both. Do that. I said, yeah, we can do that, and whichever one accepts, hey, you were gonna live in it anyway if they accept it, right?
Right.
So they were thinking, oh, but what, hey, one accepted, we didn't even hear from the other.
Yeah,
And I was.
so you got it in a contract.
Yeah.
Right.
Awesome, great job, yeah. Yeah, see, that's the thing, you may not even hear from the other one, depending on the quality of the agent on the other end of that deal, you may not even hear anything, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. Steinberg, oh yeah. What is negotiation? No, the path of negotiation, oh, let's look at this. Oh, yeah, negotiation and the W, what, how, what the heck? Well, I'm looking at the slides here, oh, I see, okay. And obviously, as a real estate professional, we are negotiating all the time in what we're doing. We do want to do our best to hold to the Y4C2Ts. Win-win or no deal. Integrity, doing the right thing, customers always come first, commitment in all things, seek first, understand, ideas before results, together everyone achieves more, start with honesty, opportunities for all, and results through people. That's at the core of Keller Williams, our values and ideology. Okay, so we have that. There are 2 options after an offer is presented. Option 1, offer accepted, close. Option 2, offer rejected, countered, negotiation, accepted, rejected, close. And I've been through all of these. The most I've had here was 6. Wow. 6 counter offers going back and forth.
Mhm.
Got them in the contract.
Can it be accepted, countered, or no? That doesn't happen, that never happened.
It can be if the seller sends you a counter offer. And your buyer goes, great, I'll take it. As long as it's an SCO. Not an SMCO. You know the difference.
That's,
This is important when working with a seller as well as with your buyer. SCO is a seller counter offer. In card form, seller counter offer, and it is to one party. So if you submit an offer and you get an SCO back, if your buyer signs that, you are in contract at that moment. The moment that they sign that, you're in contract. It's theirs. And so it cannot cancel now. They can try, but now they're gonna have to pay money to get out of it. All right, SMCO is seller multiple counter offer. And what happens with that, you submit an offer, they got 25. And they sent out SMCOs to the best one until you give us your highest and best, which I hate.
Mhm.
And then you send back your highest and best, the seller gets to choose which one they want. So even if your buyer signs that SMCO, you're not in contract.
okay,
You send that back, and then the seller gets to pick which one they want. When they sign that, then you're in contract.
okay, so in that instance, we would prefer the SCO.
Correct. Well, you'd rather prefer this. Acceptance,
One doesn't
well, yeah,
accept.
you want option 1. It's rare that you get option 1. The 2 of the buyers that closed the last 2 weeks, we got SCOs, not multiple counter offers. And the buyers accepted those terms and that. The one that's in contract now, we didn't even get a counter offer. They accepted it the way it was, yeah,
Okay.
because they have a great agent working for them. Of course, yeah. Exactly. That's why I love dual agency when I have a listing, because now I know I've got the best agent on the other end of the.
Yes, yes.
That's key. All right. let's see, what am I going to say about this that I haven't? Rejected or countered, yeah, okay. All right. So those are the options of what can happen here. And when it comes back from. When it comes back from the seller to your buyer, they may decide, you know what, I don't want it, and they can reject it and pick up their toys and go elsewhere to play. Or they could accept it, and then, so this negotiation in here is what happens. And a lot of times that's understanding what both parties want and how can we make it best for both parties. And hopefully you're dealing with a reasonable agent that's looking out for that and not their ego. Okay. Who do what? I really don't like this.
They can get some.
How do you
If
do
you
that?
click more,
There's a
I
way
think-
to,
all the way to the right. And then click hide video panel.
oh,
No, go back in.
That's okay. I'm okay with hiding video name and everything.
loading meeting control.
Hide floating meeting control. Yes.
What did you just hit?
Hide floating
Hide,
meeting
yes.
control.
I know it's hide something.
It's all, thank you. Was that you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the ORY, victory, that's what's right. Thank you. All right, so who are you negotiating with? As a buyer's agent, you're negotiating with your buyer. You're also negotiating with the seller's agent. You are not negotiating directly with the seller. When you're a listing agent, by the way, what is a listing agent?
You represent the.
Representing the buyer.
The seller.
You represent the seller. What is a selling agent?
Dude, that in the classes, that, it took me a while to realize what the hell they were talking about.
When you have a buyer, you are the selling agent. When you have a seller, you are the listing agent. Okay,
That seems so backwards. Okay.
don't ask me, that was created 1,000 years ago by someone that, whatever. Okay, so a buyer and a buyer, in fact, buyer agency didn't exist 30 years ago, maybe. It was all just listing agents who would, so it was all dual agency stuff, yeah. All right, so as a buyer agent, you're negotiating with the seller agent and with your buyer. And as a seller, a listing agent, you're negotiating with your seller and the buyer's agent. So that's how basically those all break down. Does that all make sense? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That is true. All right, common points of negotiation. Price. Usually the primary factor. What's the cost of the property? Okay, or terms, either financial, time-based, or both. Something to keep in mind when you're working with a buyer to submit an offer for your buyer with a seller. It isn't always this. 95% of the time, it's the price. I just want the highest price. However, there may be some terms that are more important. We need to stay in possession for a week, 2 weeks, or what have you. We need to find our replacement property. We need you to take care of escrow or title insurance policy. Or there's some timing on the close of escrow that we need to accommodate our life. So when would you find that out?
Immediately.
As the buy agent.
As the buyers, as the selling agent, if there are terms that are important to the seller, how would you find that out?
Listing presentation.
You're the selling agent, you're the buyer's agent.
Oh,
You want to submit an offer for your buyer on a listing. How would you find out if there are any terms that are important to them besides just the price?
During your buyer presentation.
Buyer presentation to who?
Yeah. We would need to learn about this.
you would need to.
Oh, yeah, of
Right.
Would you want to know that before or after writing the offer? Before, okay, and in that last graphic we saw, who are we negotiating with?
Your buyer.
As a buyer agent, as a selling agent, our buyer
And the listing agent.
and the listing agent. So if there are terms that are important to the seller, how are we gonna find that out?
Listing agent.
So one of the best things that you can do that will also demonstrate you're a professional to the other side is ask them, are there any other terms besides price that are important to your seller? And you can throw out things like, do they need to stay in possession? Close of escrow. Any timing issues? You can ask those questions to a listing agent. And then they'll be able to tell you, yeah, actually, if you meet this criteria and these things or what have you, then that'll help you out. And so then you can write that into the offer that you submit for your buyer. And possibly have a leg up on any of the other offers that are coming in. And just that kind of little step, that tells me I'm working with a professional at the other end of the deal. Agents that call me or text me and say, hey, what's it gonna take to win? I have no time for it. Your highest and best, that's what it's gonna take. That's when I'll get highest and best. Because they're not asking me good questions. One of the best questions I was ever taught is when submitting an offer and your buyer wants to go below the list price, which a year ago that would have been insane. The question is, my buyer is talking about writing an offer at X. I don't want to waste your time. Should I write that up? One of the best questions I was ever taught by Dave Vanderwijk, who unfortunately has passed. He was up there though, he was faithful. And yeah, he told me that one. It's a great one because the listing agent can't tell you they will accept whatever number. They might have an idea. They can't tell you because they're not selling it. They're the listing agent. It's not their house. If you ask, I don't want to waste your time here. My buyer's talking about writing X. Should I bother? And then they can tell you yes or no. Okay, that's a great thing that you can do.
Fine,
Yes,
those terms,
yes,
sometimes that stuff is, listed agents list some of that in the MLS, right?
sometimes they do, yeah. Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. You just never know. That's an important thing. Always look at the agent remarks in MLS when you're showing a property. Read the showing instructions. Read the agent remarks. I cannot tell you how many times I get stupid calls from agents. Hey, how do I show it? Well, the specific showing instructions are there in MLS. Why don't you read that first? And by the way, I'm not going to work with you because you don't know how to read or prepare. So good luck. Yeah.
Why did the new agent didn't go and check that?
Are you all new agents?
Yeah. I mean, like, no.
Do you know to check that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
My first day in the office.
I'm sorry, it's not my job to train them.
Right.
That's not my job.
It's their mentorship.
If they are a KW agent, I might cut them some slack.
That's what, well,
But, and if it's somebody else, but a KW agent probably would have been instructed or whatever. And not everybody gets mentors. If you go to some other brokerages, you're good luck getting training.
yeah.
But at least you're paid less money.
Yeah.
We've already got ahas going on, really? Wow. All right, any ahas from that last segment?
Always read the agent remarks.
Yes, always read the agent remarks and the showing instructions.
You know the difference between an SEO and SMCO?
That's an important one, because not everybody does. Now, and when you have a listing, there was a time when I would just send out SMCOs, even if I had one offer.
Yeah, why would it matter?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know. Because then that way my seller has the final say. Yes,
I wasn't here for that.
Congratulations. That must be such a happy moment for you.
Is he okay?
He's fine. He's sitting here.
Okay.
He needed love loss and common balance administration.
Is it bad?
Oh, yes. He ran to the past. The stone raised and.
Right. Yeah.
But if he.
Okay. The forms that a seller can provide to your buyer is either an SCO, in car forms, it's called SCO, that stands for seller counter offer. That means one person they're negotiating with. SMCO, and if you get an SCO and your buyer signs it, you're in contract. Period. End of story. It's over. If you get an SMCO, seller multiple counter offer, that's going out to multiple parties. Your buyer can sign that. It goes back to seller, and then seller gets to pick who they want. So if your seller signs an SMCO, you are not in contract. Until, I'm sorry, if your buyer signs an SMCO, you are not in contract until the seller signs it and chooses yours. Okay, cool. All right, 3 P's of negotiation. Prepare. Preparation is key to building confidence and ensuring a smooth negotiation process. All right. Present, move into negotiation process by presenting the offer, and position, move both parties closer until you have full agreement. That's pretty basic. When you're considering writing an offer for a buyer, and we were just talking about this, what would prepare include?
Know your goal, know your client, think ahead, set clear expectations.
You're reading it from the book.
Obey laws and know the document inside and out.
How many of you have been to Scott, to Gottlieb's, class?
Contract.
Wow, that's cool. Let's install her radio, shall we? Oh, this thing. What the heck?
How do you get back? It did that all by itself.
It probably set press something on here.
Is there a source button input?
Yes. Okay, hey, where'd the hangy thing go?
I'm not gonna say.
We know who broke it. Somebody.
Who broke it?
It's stitches, you know.
I got some stitches a couple of weeks ago, and I cut my thumb, and I was diving for stuff. Good night.
Are you a snitch?
No, not snitch. Okay.
Neither are we.
All right, so you already busted through those. Know your goal. What's your goal?
Close.
Get the client in contract. Know your client, what they want. Think ahead. It's a clear expectation. This is really important. Letting them know this is what the process is going to be. And there's Kevin Park mailing out some more stuff. Who are those going to, Kevin?
We have a buyer in the Los Feliz area.
Got it, okay.
Village,
Yeah,
so we're trying to, because the inventory fell out,
yeah.
so we're trying to find a home for
It's the, I've got a buyer letter. Which includes a letter saying I've got a buyer, maybe some description.
Yeah.
And then a pre-approval letter or evidence of funds.
Sometimes,
Yeah,
and then some of our marketing pieces about us as well.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
there you go.
Yeah.
And they've had great success doing it. And they do it consistently.
Okay.
Every week, they're sending those things out.
And you use your title rep to get all the addresses of everyone?
Yes, I use Ben
Okay.
and Grant,
Mhm.
they're probably my favorite.
Okay.
Yeah,
They're very knowledgeable.
yeah,
Cool.
absolutely. Thank you.
Kevin.
And that is a strategy that can work when it's done consistently over time. And everything works when it's done consistently over time.
Distances.
I saw a Facebook post the other day, back in Northern California where I'm from. Somebody who was a teacher and now a real estate agent posted, I've got a buyer looking in these 3 cities for these specific things. Know anybody? And I know that that's just a marketing post or on Facebook. And
Yeah.
I wanna say to them, go to your title rep, find that size property in those cities and phone them, knock on their door or mail, or all three. Anyway, be informed, obey the laws, know the documents inside and out. This can be a challenge for y'all because you're newer. Steve Gottlieb,
Yeah.
where did they get Scott from?
You said Steve, I think.
Originally.
I'm gonna go with Steve. Let's go with, I said Steve, everybody say Bob said Steve.
Bob and Steve.
Steve Gottlieb's class on the contract,
Yes.
he goes into deep detail on that thing. The reality is, there's about 10 things you need to know on there, and you need to know them really, really well. Okay, so. The other thing. Continued on the page. Be informed, obey laws. Is there anything else I want? Because what's more important for me about preparing. It's also including finding out what the seller needs. And this seems to be predominantly, I'm representing a buyer base, this presentation. Also understand what the seller needs are. They may not be in NLS, that may not be spelled out. So communicate with the listing agent. And the more intelligently you communicate with the listing agent, you're increasing your odds of winning the deal. I'm in contract now because the listing agent knows me and knows I'll do a great job. And we won over other offers because a lot of times it's the agent on the other end of the deal. And even if you don't know a lot, it's okay if you ask great questions and you're looking for a way to win for both parties, that will come through. If you ask stupid questions, that stands out and your chances go to hell. Prepare. Yeah, we know that. Okay. Ask purposeful questions, provide you with the points you will negotiate on. What's important to your buyer? What's important to the seller? Understanding what those are. What would be important to a buyer?
The price.
Price. Yep.
The location, of course.
Yeah.
Location. Yep. We're gonna assume it's in the area that they want. It has the bedroom, bathroom count, square footage. The attributes of the house are what the buyer wants. So we know that. So price is an important thing. What else is important?
Or no, that's the price and everything.
Contingencies are important.
Okay.
Home inspection, appraisal, loan, disclosures.
I wanna know when I.
When can you move in? Timing.
Yeah.
How soon can I move in? That's important to the buyer. Maybe a buyer I closed last week was out of their place on Valentine's Day. And so they had to get closed and get moved in. So yeah, when they close can be important. And then for the seller, similar kind of things. When are they moving out? What do they need to accomplish? And price is important to them. Purposeful provides insight on where you and your client have leverage. Or if you have leverage. Maybe seller's got to sell right away. Maybe the seller is in contract on another property. Oh, here's the ideal situation for y'all. A property comes back on the market and because that seller is in contract purchasing something else, but their buyer failed. And now they need another buyer to keep things going so they can get their property. Now, guess what? You can probably pick it up for less or better terms. Because they're desperate now. And if you know that, understand that, sometimes that's disclosed in MLS, sometimes it's not. If I'm a smart agent, I'm not going to. Disclose that.
That's where it's important to understand the difference between active under contract versus pending in MLS, is what I understand, because the active under contract means that the seller agent will still accept other offers in the eventuality that something goes wrong. If you're in pending, they won't accept anything, it's closed. Is what I've been told.
That's what you've been told. That's how it's supposed to work. The one that I just closed last week stayed active under contract until it was changed to close. Even after buyer removed all contingencies, the agent never changed it to pending, because it's a Redfin agent and they suck. Any Redfin agents on this?
I didn't realize that there were red agents until I met one of you.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
there are Redfin agents.
It's just an online thing.
By the way, if you ever want to, if you ever get caught where you're negotiating with a seller about a listing. And they say, well, Redfin's only charging X. Will you do it for X? I said, I appreciate that. Do you know how a Redfin agent gets paid?
Their salary.
They are paid salary. And they might get a bonus or something when they close. Their main job is to get listing agreements signed at that lower commission, and then they're done and gone. I get paid when your property closes. So let me ask you, who's gonna be more motivated to make sure that this gets closed with the price and terms that you want? The person that's getting a salary to get a piece of paper signed, or the person who only gets paid if they close? So, there you go. So, yes, that is correct. And not every agent abides by it.
Yeah, and you still have to do your due diligence to call the other agent to see whether or not your time and effort is.
Yeah.
Worth it.
Exactly. Setting clear expectations. Now, we're gonna write up this offer and it has a 3-day expiration. And that may be ignored. And we may not hear anything for a week. And if that's the case, then we'll address it then. If they submit a counteroffer, accept it, unless we found something else and having a contract elsewhere. Setting clear expectations, allow you to get to know your client and their goal, helps you learn what it will take for a win-win negotiation for both parties. And just asking great questions of your buyer and the listing agent. Okay, open or close that. You know the difference between this, right? What additional information should I know? What is important about closing in 30 days? How do you feel about that? Remember, how is the most powerful question you can ask. Closed-ended, do you have to sell your home by a specific date? Yes or no? Do you have any other offers? What is the bottom line price you would consider? That's could be asked of a seller. I do ask agents, are there any other offers in the works? Because that's going to tell me something about what price my seller can offer. I ask, are they at or above list? If you have other offers, are they at or above list? That's going to tell me something. So for the listing agent, I would ask those. For the buyer you're working with, open-ended. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that a seller's agent is actually, a listing agent is able to actually confirm whether they are above or below list? Or is that not a fiduciary to the seller?
In the listing agreement, a listing agent has the authority and right to share any offers that they have with a buyer. It's written in the agreement. Unless the seller checks a box or negotiating that out.
Okay.
We have the right to disclose if we have offers and what they're at. Now, will all agents do that? You got it correct. That's why I asked. Some will, some won't, so what? You ask the question and find out.
Would you disclose?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The last one I had that was just crazy, it was 2 years ago in June. And we got 16 offers, I think. And, you know, I knew it was gonna blow up because we got 200 people in the first open house. And it was during COVID, so everybody had to sign in, we had to manage them going through that, oh, bloodbath. And, yeah, so yeah, anybody that called was like, yeah, I've got X number right now and we're well above this. And depending on how much I liked them or how good they were, I would give them more detail than that. But it was all about how they presented themselves, how they conducted themselves, and how they asked the question. You know, if they were short, jerky, and just stupid, then they get the minimum.
So what a good conversation sound like to you? If I were calling to speak on that one for offer, what would you want me to say?
Okay, so you're the listing agent. Ringling, you asked, you're the one. Good morning, this is Bob, this is Suzanne.
Yes, this is that.
Hi, Suzanne. Hey, I'm calling because I got a buyer that, we saw your property there on Skyler Road yesterday. The property you have listed, it's not their property. Property you listed on Skyler Road. My buyer absolutely loves it, and intend on submitting an offer. I'm just curious, how many offers do you have at this point? You have 5 offers, okay, and so I'm guessing they're probably above the list price.
No, I can't share that with you.
That's fine, that's totally fine, I get it. And besides price, Suzette, are there any other terms that are important to that seller? Staying in possession, close of escrow, anything else that I need to know?
They want to break escrow, they want to move out.
Okay, so if my buyer can close in 21 days, your seller would be able to be out of the property.
As long as the price.
Right.
Assuming
Absolutely.
the price is right, yes, they will be out.
Okay, well, I see the property is listed for 1.1 million. My buyer was talking about offering 1.2. At this point, with what you already have in hand, should I even bother writing that up?
Yes.
Very good, thank you so much. Look forward to submitting that offer. I'll let you know when we get that over to you. And that is a typical kind of conversation. That could happen. And she played it exactly right. Yeah, some agents will go, I can't tell you that. And that's fine, no problem. If there's 5 offers, are they over list?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
No, I know they have that.
exactly. Yeah, now, what could happen though, is you call up, say, I've got a buyer that's on the property. They're very interested, they're talking about submitting an offer. Do you have any offers at this point? No, we don't, we really need one really bad. It's not, it's. I don't really have that often, but- Yeah, for 1.1, my buyer's talking about 1, should I bother writing that up? Yeah, please do. Save my buyer $200,000. Just by making a phone call and asking the question. Yeah,
So if someone calls you and you don't have any offers, you say, I don't have any offers yet, or what's my response?
oh, yeah, I'm honest. Agents that, go, you have any offers? Well, I don't know, but I'm expecting some, and we've got a lot of activity, and I'm doing an open house this weekend. And blah, 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 blah. So you don't have anything to write? No, okay, good, that's what I was going for, not your story about your la-di-da. You know, okay. Okay, what and why question? What would happen if, helps you anticipate the next steps of the negotiation? What would happen if they come back and say they want more money? What would happen if they come back and they say they needed a 60-day close of escrow versus 30-day? What would happen if they ask you to shorten your home inspection or appraisal or loan contingencies? Which are all things that the seller could do. Especially that home inspection contingency, you'll rarely get 17 days. Although did I get it on? No, usually that's short of the 10, which is totally fine. You can get Ray Gastelum out there in a day or 2. And I've got pest inspectors, or termite inspectors that I can get out there for no cost or whatever. You can get what you need to out there. Why is this important to you? I'm not a fan of why. Why is confrontatory? Why is that important to you? Why? Why? Kids ask why. What is important to you about that? And helps you gain more information about what they're feeling, what they're doing, and this is all under prepare.
Mhm.
Take action. Oh. You really want to role play this? Right?
Yeah, I think we've already done some role playing.
What is it? There's a scenario, where's the scenario?
It's right here.
You are representing a single buyer, your client is renting.
What, yeah, go ahead.
Client is renting her present property, like any first-time buyer, she is looking to you to guide her through the process. The asking price for the home she really loves is $175,000. The house appears to have evidence of, right? The house appears to have evidence of a roof leak, is listed as is, and is correctly priced. Your client would like to keep her payments as low as possible since she still has a number of student loans to pay off. She wants to write an offer for $155,000. There has been quite a lot of activity on the list.
Okay. That's actually a really good scenario. But we'll do 1.15 million instead of one.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's do a 1.75,
1.5, yeah, 1.15. Wait, oh, it's what-
It'd be 0.17.
okay, so,
That's what this is.
yeah, before I even got to 1.55 or 1.15. I would have contacted the listing agent. To say, where are you at with offers, when are they being presented? How many do you have? A lot of activity, that's interesting, but that doesn't mean there's offers forthcoming. And find out that information. Okay, it looks like there's evidence of roof being sold as it is. So what are you gonna ask? And so you know that there's no offers currently in hand. And your buyer tells you, I'm thinking about offering 1.15. Then what are you gonna do with that information before you write it up? Based on what I've shared with you.
Ask the listing agent, that's something that we're running your offer, you don't want to waste their time or their time anyway.
Correct. My buyer's talking about offering 1.15. Based on the condition and what have you. Should I even bother writing that up? The other thing you need to know about this person that wants to buy a house that looks like it has a roof leak and are purchasing it as is. What's the condition of the property and will it qualify for financing? Because if they're getting an FHA or a VA loan, it has to meet certain habitability requirements, period. Conventional, you can slide a little bit more, doesn't have to be as pristine. If it's cash, you don't have to worry about it. They're paying cash. But know what the requirement of the financing is going to be.
How do we find that out?
So FHA and VA require a heater that operates and a stove that operates. And not blatant evidence of disrepair, of carpet on the floor, water in the pool. That's a requirement of a loan, that there be water in the pool. Yeah. Okay, and Chris or Fernando can let you know if there's more detail around that. Those are just two real obvious things. I've walked into some properties that I met. This is not gonna get fun. This is a cash flow. So, yeah, if you've got an FHA buyer and you see fixer, don't bother. You're wasting your time. Because they're not gonna be able to get it. And with a VA loan, what is absolutely required with a VA loan?
Gotta be a bit.
What?
They have-
Well, okay, they're a veteran, they qualify for financing, when they're submitting an offer, in order for that VA loan to be funded, what must happen? What report and repairs must happen for a VA loan? Well, this is good, I'm glad I'm giving you dropping some knowledge on you. VA is the only one that absolutely requires that a termite or wood destroying pest inspection be done, and section 1 and section 2 repairs be completed. Now, who pays for that is up to negotiation. The VA buyer that I closed in Moreno Valley with, the seller paid for the termite inspection and repairs.
And what did you say, C1 and C2 repairs?
Section 1 and section 2. Section 1 is active with the swimming test. Could be termites, could be dry rot. That's active. Section 2 is it could lead to a section 1 issue, and that could be missing grout on tile countertop. Because water would leak in and then impact the wood underneath. It could be cellulose debris in the crawl space underneath the house. How many times I've seen that one? Okay, so in that scenario, now we've asked the listing agent, should I write that up at 1.15? They said, yes, you should. Okay. So what are some other questions you could ask that it's being sold as is? Yes. Let's go to some what if questions.
I moved to my house in when we bought our house, there was a. Walk on the first floor of the fireplace, and under that fireplace. On this bottom floor was a brick barbecue pit. Yeah, and I said, well, did you ever use that? Why is that sitting there? And then, oh yeah, I said, oh, I'm not sure, so I want it torn down. One foot bit and torn down. And what is the cost that I want to be in order when so to calculate the cost? So it's an estimate to cover the costs and reduce our first price whatever.
Okay, so
Here, maybe she could get.
did that happen when you were in escrow or before?
No, before,
So you saw the property and said, I want that removed.
yes.
Great, we'll take care of all of that. Okay, so that's understanding what is important to your buyer before.
Right.
Right, okay, so
For the roof, what do you want to find out?
how would you find that out?
On one of our roofs.
Okay,
I mean,
so before you put it. You're gonna pay a roofing people. So what is written into every single RPA that we have regarding condition of the property?
Request for seller change or.
Fire investigation. Home inspection contingency. Which is defaulted to 17 days, oftentimes that gets pushed to 10 days. And during that time period, you send out the roofer, the home inspector, the pest guy, the geological surveyors, the foundation specialist or whatever, and they do all their investigations and they turn up an issue. So then what happens?
You negotiate there. That's close.
You submit a request for repairs to the seller saying, we want this, that, or the other. And the seller then responds, and if the seller says.
No.
Then that's the question you want to ask this lady. So chances are, when we do the inspections on this property, since it's being sold as is, and it looks like there's a roof issue, there's gonna be some problems. Chances are that's going to happen. Now, when that happens, you have the right. And you can ask the seller to repair that or credit you money or reduce the purchase price. However, they will likely say no. What will happen if they say no? And find out from your buyer then what's, okay, if they say no, well, I'm out of here. What's important to you? Getting the house in its current condition or getting a better house that's in better condition? Getting one at this low price or getting one at better condition that's higher?
After the buyer says, oh, house.
I had that conversation. Before I write the offer, yes,
Would you have that conversation before you even contact the seller agent?
the listing agent,
Or sorry, that's the listing agent?
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'm gonna have a conversation with the listing agent, because I want to understand, have any reports been done, are you aware of the issues that are really? Sometimes, reports will be listed in MLS, attached to MLS. That's a thorough agent that really is doing a great job, and that's someone I would.
So see if I
However,
can-
that's rare.
So some of the questions you ask is how are we aware of the issues tenant has any?
If somebody's selling a property as is, my first question is, will it even qualify, before you even go look at it? Will it even qualify for finance? From what you know about the condition of the property, will it qualify for finance? Because I've got an FHA, VA, conventional, whatever buyer. Well, yeah, sure. Okay, great. Are you aware of any of the issues? Have any reports been done? Like termite, home inspection, roof, or whatever? Most of the time, they have not.
When you buy it as is. I don't have to disclose what they know, what they know is wrong.
So all sellers are required by contract to produce a TDS, real estate transfer disclosure statement, where they indicate their knowledge of the condition of the property. I cannot tell you how many times I've seen TDSs on torn up properties that say nothing. Yeah. And that agent seller is opening themselves up for huge liabilities. By the way.
The agent and the seller. Yes.
Yep.
Our house was not looked as is, and then we negotiated on the price.
Mhm.
And we said, y'all said that my was happy as is.
Yep, there you go. And did the seller disclose what they knew about the condition of the property?
They did, but yeah, I mean, I've seen the list, but up to them for a couple of years, we knew they hadn't disclosed it.
They are required, and a form that came out 20 years ago, the SPQ, Solar Property Questionnaire, which is a lot better. It goes into a lot more detail as to what they know about the condition of the property. And if you're a listing agent, I encourage you, it's not required, I encourage you, however, to use that.
What's that one?
SPQ, Seller Property Questionnaire. And that's one that you will get from the listing agent. Most of the time. Okay, so understanding what's important to your buyer and what's important to the seller. Present. Call the other agent. Ooh, that's, pay attention to nonverbal cues like pauses, voice qualities. Hey, how many hours you got on that? Keep quiet once you present an offer.
Well, it's giving them time to.
This almost seems like, and this happened in the olden days, when my sister and brother-in-law were helping a party sell a property in Willow Glen, this is in the San Jose area. They were acting as a fiduciary or whatever. The agents actually came to their house and presented the offer. They had their listing agent. They had one offer in hand. A buyer and their agent drove up to the house and walked in with an offer as well. And so they were actually presenting it. In the olden days, we used to actually present the offer to the seller. In the olden days, we email it across. We send it out for signatures on DocuSign, and then we send it across. Listen carefully what's important to the other party. We've talked about that. Stay calm and relaxed. Focus on the customer's needs and give your offer the best chance. The thing with, if you're only working one deal and you've got one deal, it's a challenge to stay focused and relaxed, or calm and relaxed. Because if you don't get that deal, you don't get a patient. And that is not a great place to be in, and I've been there. And yet, you still have to do what's best for your client. If they win the deal, great. If they don't, that's okay. We'll pick up our toys and we'll see if we can find you something else. At the end of the day, it's about what's important to that buyer and or seller. Okay. Acknowledge and affirm common ground, ask what and how questions, know what know that positioning is a process, know when to walk away. Yeah, it could be a bloodbath. I want to see if there's anything more I want to say about this. One thing it says here is understand it may have to go back and forth a few times. Like I said, I had 6 counter offers on one deal. It was over $1 million in El Dorado Hills. And at that time, that was a lot of money. And for that property in there. Gosh, that was 20 years ago? Holy cow. Anyway, it went back multiple times with different things. Buyer wanted this, seller wanted this, and so we went back and forth. And you just stay calm and go, here, buyer, here's what they're saying now. Are you okay with that? No, I'd rather do this. Great, I'll write that up and send that over. By the way, you understand the implications of this thing that you're asking. They could say no, or come back with something different. Are you okay with that? Yeah, we're okay with that. Okay, great. I'm having to work with a buyer right now that is concerned about an issue on the property. And they say, well, what's the seller gonna do to repair it? Well, we're gonna put in a request and they may do nothing. And your options, if they do nothing, is to either accept it, cancel, or you seek out and figure out how to fix it out yourself. It's one of those. And if you want, you know, if you're okay with that, then we'll proceed. Oh, work with your same partner. Okay, what's the scenario that we have? Jennifer. Or do you have it, Susan? What's the scenario?
Property is 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and it's at $3,000 in a well-established neighborhood. House requires new parking throughout first floor and a new garage door. 3 hours. 3 offers have been made, but all were below the asking price. Buyer agent role. Your buyers are making an offer of $340,000 for the house. They have been pre-approved. Buyers would like to close in the shortest time possible, so they are moving from out of state and need a home for their family. Since they are leaving their appliances in their current home, the buyers would also like all the appliances to be included. And goes to the listing agent. Your sellers have raised their family in the house you were selling, have many friends and family in the area. Since your children are now grown, they no longer need the amount of space their current home provides in a first home in Florida. They would like to give all appliances to their daughter, who has just gone through divorce. They will not be moving until they have sold their current house, and although they would like to get to Florida as soon as possible, they are ready to stand their ground regarding the price.
Okay, all right. Okay, excellent. So who wants to be the listing agent? We're representing the seller. Okay, Chris. All right, and I'm the buyer's agent representing the buyer. Ring, ring.
Hi,
Hi, Chris, this is Bob with Keller Williams, and your property on Skylar Road. You mentioned you have 3 offers on that already. And my buyer is talking about writing an offer of $340,000. Should I even bother you with that at this point?
yes, you can definitely write that up.
Okay, fantastic. And question for you, my buyer would like the appliances to be included. Is that possible? Obviously, so microwave are gonna be included because they're attached. Washer, dryer, refrigerator.
My client would really like to have those not included.
I see. Okay, fantastic. And is there a certain time frame that your seller needs to sell by? Both restaurants.
They would like to move as soon as possible, but they are open on that.
Okay, so there's some flexibility with that.
There is some flexibility.
Will they need to stay in possession after the close of escrow to, in order to make their move?
Let's see.
That's not in there. Well, I'm gonna ask that question.
I
again.
just, I wasn't-
Does the seller need to stay in possession after the close of escrow
okay,
in order to assist them?
no,
Okay, excellent, excellent. Okay, so 340, no appliances that are not attached. And a normal 30-day close of escrow would be acceptable.
sorry, I'm just reading that.
Yeah.
If you could come up on the price because of the other offers that we have on the table, that is gonna help us find this position a little bit better.
Gotcha, gotcha. So if they came in at 345, would that strengthen their position?
We do have offers over list.
It says they don't.
Yeah.
It's our under list.
Yeah, they're all under asking.
They're all under asking.
Mhm.
That's what I was trying to.
But you're negotiating on behalf of yourself. Okay. So I think you could say, yeah, that would help you.
Okay,
And that's something a good listing agent could do, because she knows that the seller is stuck on the price. They want 350 period.
Yeah.
Now, what conversation am I going to have with the buyer?
well, you're gonna let them know that the appliances will not be included.
If the seller is saying they want to keep the appliances.
Right.
Okay, do you still want to include in your offer that the appliances are included? And they might say yes, they might say no.
This is.
Or you're asking the buyer.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. Okay, great, okay, and there is other offers, however, they're all below list. I know you talked about 340. If you're willing to come up $5,000, that might strengthen your position. And keeping in mind that $5,000 amortized over 30 years is about $20 a month. So is it worth a couple of Starbucks a month to not get the property?
Well, and you could also tell the seller, or sorry, the buyer, you know, I don't know what the condition of the appliances are. But the seller wants to take the appliances. Would you rather go in at list price and get the appliances that are there as is, or would you rather go over price?
Under list.
Sorry. Under list. Well, but
Over your.
because.
Your
So what my thought is. You really want to fight for the extra appliances. Because that's gonna be a stickler for them. So. Come in, you know, you can take that extra 5,000 that you might position yourself to go in at list or above list price to make it more appealing to the seller. Or come in under price and give up the appliances and put that $5,000 that you may have put extra and buy yourself the new appliances that is going to give you more confidence that they'll last longer.
Your positioning is 100% correct. What is the condition of those appliances?
We don't know.
How old are they?
Right.
One can assume they've been living there for quite a while. Odds are pretty good they're old.
This here reads the thing that
They raise their family there. So we don't know. Maybe they just bought brand new ones. We don't know. But
There's no warranty.
that positioning is exactly correct. Okay, so however, if we can get you this property at 345, 5,000 below what they want. Can you take that 5,000 and put that towards brand new appliances that are more to your liking? Now, I cannot promise you we can get it at 345. The seller may be stuck on the price. What if the seller comes back and says no appliances in 350?
No, do you still want it?
Do you still want it? What happens if
Yeah.
they do that? Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that for that additional $5,000, which equates to, by the way, $10,000 amortized over 30 years is about $60 a month, I think. It may be higher now with interest rates higher. However, on average, you can use $10,000 is about $60 a month. So is it worth it for you to miss out on this house over the cost of your YouTube TV subscription? And you're equating it to something tangible. Is it worth it for you to miss out on this house over the cost of what you probably spend on Starbucks each month?
The appliances are expensive, that might.
Then, yes, you're right, they absolutely are, and so now you're gonna have some cash to get brand new appliances. So would you rather we go find a lower priced house with brand new appliances?
Or
Yeah, that's it.
what if the buyer came back and said, hey, you know what, they will really bring X, go back with another counter offer, we'll pay list price. And I keep the appliances.
Great, let's write that up. And I'm gonna write that up, and I'm also gonna say, now, what if they come back and say appliances are not included? Are you out? Great, good to know. Let's go ahead and write that up and see how they respond.
We just know the outcomes.
Yeah, just make your buyer and seller aware of the outcomes. And I love the positioning you did with that, Chris, of those could be POS appliances.
Yeah.
So why even worry about it? So good job. Okay, this last section that we've just done, is there anything that stood out for you that you went, oh, I hadn't thought of that? Besides VA, FHA, conventional. By the way, it's so funny, I get a lot of buyers that come to my website and everybody wants a fixer. And everybody wants, I can buy and fix up. Okay, great, how are you ready, paying cash? Oh, no, I've been qualified for an FHA loan. Okay, well, you're not buying a fixer then, that's not gonna happen. It will not. Because it has to meet a certain habitability requirement. Okay, anything else that you run across? And I'm looking at it. Let's see how much I can burn through here. Oh, good, we're
We're like done.
actually almost done with the content. Yeah, cool. Come on, all right, I want one more. Something that you went, oh, that's different, that's new, or that's something I will be able to put to use.
Well, I know about the, so, I know that the. I guess I never thought about putting them into my conversation.
By the way, that technique is called the reduction to the ridiculous. It's a sales, ancient sales technique, the reduction to the ridiculous. Okay, so you want to offer 10,000 less than their list price, and they already have other offers. So that $10,000 equates to $60 a month, amortized over 30 years. So it's worth it for you to lose out on that property over the cost of half of what you might spend if you go out for dinner last month. And then like, oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, we put it in perspective, that makes sense.
$60 a month is
Break it
$2
out
a
like
day, is $2 a day. So for less than the cost of a Starbucks coffee per day, you are willing to let this property go.
Yeah, I do that, like, so on my insurance, I do that same thing,
Yeah,
but I never thought about going with them, and I always close with that, and I think it's.
Yeah. exactly. Yep.
Think about it, it's like, how many times do you go out for dinner? You have a cocktail, how much are cocktails now, $20 a cocktail, how many do you have, and it's probably gonna cost you what? Less than that a month?
Yep.
It's gonna pay you, it's cash diagnosis, and.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah. It's a fact.
Right.
But that really helps to do is bring up the emotion on the table, like what.
Mhm.
To
If they
understand
really
how
want it,
passionate they are.
I really want. it.
Yeah.
Because if it's not their dream home, or their, that's it. They might, you know.
Then I can let it go. Okay, that's fine. Ooh. Negotiation tips.
Be professional.
What does that mean?
I mean, when you go to an open house, don't tell the person visiting, I don't care about the effing master. Or the value, whatever, I ever want to, if they don't like it, I don't give a F. What the agent said to us.
What?
That was not professional. That house is still sitting on the market, you know why?
Dropping F-bombs.
Because of that agent, no, because of that agent that is still sitting there.
And to understand something. That seller hired that agent. Yeah.
Like a family member or something.
Yeah, family member or whatever, who knows, yeah. Now, I'm gonna go knock on doors this afternoon. When I show up at a door with my name tag looking like this, do I look professional?
Yes,
Who said no?
I said yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, and there I have a cohort at the RPV, Keller Williams, who she's female, she's concerned about door knocking herself. They said, will you
Wants to
come out and
fuck
door knock?
Yeah.
Yes, and that's valid, unfortunately, that's real, I get it. So,
Is she taking the lead? Or you?
no, I'm gonna have my flyer, she has hers, so I'm door knocking the neighborhood, and if I get something, I get something. What's that?
What flyer do you take for door knocking?
Normally, I don't take anything. Yeah, I bring my yellow pad, because I wanna know how many doors I hit, how many contacts I made,
Mhm,
and if I get somebody's contact information, I wanna be able to write it down.
Right.
And here's my door knocking script. They open the door. Hi, I'm Bob with Keller Williams South Bay, and I knew I wouldn't run into you at my office, so I came out here.
Mm.
And they left. Hey, I'm in the neighborhood because we have buyers looking for a home in this neighborhood. I'm just curious, who do you know that could be thinking about selling their home? I can't think of anybody, nobody, everybody's staying, everything's great, well, fantastic. What about your situation? Oh, I've lived here for 40 years or whatever, or know you can spot, or you're gonna hear whatever you're gonna hear.
Right.
And I go, fantastic. Do you ever have a need for handyman, handy person, or improvements or repairs and things like that? Well, yeah, actually we do, or we're thinking about doing it. Okay, great. I have a list of vetted vendors that I can send to you. What's the best email address for you? What's the best phone number in case that email bounces?
Mhm.
And your name is? Okay, great. I will email that over to you this afternoon
Mhm.
after I'm done. Great, thank you. What did I just add?
Value database.
I added to my
Value
database.
and database.
Value and
Value
database.
database.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's what I do door knocking.
Okay.
Yeah, or I could, we have a buyer's flyer. The person I was door knocking with, she had this two-sided thing that had 10 reasons why you use Susan, and then it had something else on the back, and it was like, oh my God, there's so much on there, nobody's gonna read that.
Mhm.
And she was leading with the flyer.
Oh,
It was kind of like, all she was doing was just trying to hand out flyers.
Giving them
And
out.
if she happened to run into somebody, then she would have a conversation. I knock on every door and I count 1001, 1002, 1003 until I get to 10.
Mhm.
And then if nobody answers, then I'll leave a flyer. But I don't lead with it. I lead with the conversation.
Mhm.
Okay, anyway, be professional. Tangent. Keep your goal in mind. What's your goal?
get the listings.
Or if you're representing a buyer?
It's
No, your goal is to do what's in the best interest of your client, Jennifer.
of course.
All right, and I appreciate those answers. Pay attention to communication and tone with anyone involved in the transaction. I've had agents that just went off. That would go crazy, they would scream, yell, cry, beat, whatever. And so just back up on that. You stay calm, no matter what they're doing. And understand, this is just a negotiation. This is just a business transaction. This isn't life or death. Continue to refer to your client's motivation when speaking with them. And remember, I had a buyer that closed last week. They were getting a little beaky about some issue with the property or something, or about the cost of the loan or what have you. And it's like, okay, great. Well, yeah, you can cancel and you'll get your deposit back. How will that work with you having to be out by Valentine's Day?
Mhm.
So going back to your buyer's motivation or your seller's motivation. Okay, yeah, I get all of that. Will that help you achieve your goal? Or what you're motivated about? Don't reveal too much, listen more than talk. Keep your client's motivation close to your chest. Is it okay to share my client really loves your house?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to be flattering towards them. They think it's great. I don't think it's great. I don't like it, but I'm not buying it.
Exactly.
And that's an important thing to remember. You're not buying that. And I see agents go into a property and start talking about, well, you could do this over here and you could do that over there, and you could take down this wall and put up a box. And
Don't offer it.
you're not buying it. They're buying it. They probably don't even care about that. And don't be attached to the outcome. This is tough. When I'm cold calling people. If I was attached to everybody that told me, no, F off, don't call me again, get me off your list. Would I be able to make those calls? No. Just cannot be attached to it. This buyer that I have in contract now, is there a chance they can cancel over the condition of the property? Sure. And if that's the reason they're canceling, okay, great. Let's pick up our toys and find you something else. All right. Don't be attached to the outcome. That's a difficult thing. Believe me. And it's vital. And we're pretty much done. Are there any questions you have about the negotiation process or about some other aspect of Joanne Galen that you need answered?
The gallon or-
Never know.
It's Galen.
He's busting me, because that's what he does. I mean,
Hey, JoJo, are you going out on brokers
I
today?
know, I said to it, you are going out on
you
broker.
send me a text.
I'm not, let's go, I wanna go to the next broker's.
I know, I mean, they're safe from here.
Yeah.
You're like,
I think I said, I've been in it.
Pamela Brown, they're back from the-
Did you think, but I don't need from here. So I need from,
Somewhere else.
so it's PD, it's, you know, just how I roll. What are you learning from this?
Wow.
I just stand up here and run through the hall.
They probably come to work.
It was me. I was glad you were at the last minute. I'm glad I'm here. Oh, no, I'm completely fine. It's just,
He loves to talk, but he had to realize that.
I love to give value,
He does,
JoJo.
and he does. He's a good
And
guy.
he does.
Right.
And he does give value.
So Kevin Park mentioned he uses Brent Bensu and Grant Alley to get the data of the properties that JoJo can do the same thing for. Yeah, can get you information. I have somebody asking me, is it property radar or is it title toolbox that can get you divorce,
Toolbox,
probate?
so inexpensive.
Title toolbox?
It's called title toolbox. I can get you set up, do it for free, and then you get your, you could pull up, and I can show you how to do it. You can pull up specific things like divorces, recent affidavit of deaths, recent NODs, notice of default. There's a whole list of things. If you give me your card, I will set you up on title toolbox.
What is the cost per? Let me, I want to find everybody who got divorced last month.
It's anywhere from 15 cents to 70 cents. I don't remember the, I can pull it up, I could get it.
Depending on what. Could be,
And then, I'm sorry,
it could be as low as 15, it could be as high as
Yeah.
77.
but then, so you get the lead, and then if you want the actual phone number or email, if they have it, it's like 5 cents more. So,
Oh.
I like your.
What's your phone number?
It's 310-993 JoJo. That's 569.
993. 651.
I did not even know that.
Oh,
I'm gonna have to dinner with JoJo multiple times and I didn't know that about her phone.
That's pretty cool.
So would it be worth it
Oh,
for y'all to know if there's people that are getting divorced and like need to sell their house?
so.
Would that be worth 20 cents?
It's, yeah, so, I will get you all signed up by this evening on this, and then you'll get a welcome from them. And then just give me a call tomorrow, or you might have softball, but if you just.
Is that doing it with JR?
Doing it for JR.
Doing it for JR?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, cool.
Yeah, but I will get you all set up, and then I can come by next week one day, and I can show you how to use title toolbox.
Okay.
And then if you, what do you want to know?
Oh, what Title Toolbox will also do, Tim, is you can check certain areas. and find out what the turnover is. I just, hey, Joanne, what's the turnover in this area? Use tools, I don't want to have to learn. I asked somebody who knows how to use them. Yeah, and she got it.
But
The chief needs it.
so like,
Last Sunday morning.
You're gonna write your, oh, you sit in your car, I sit in my car, all right, so, from the calendar,
We're not after Ignite on Monday.
Monday, I am packed full, unfortunately, so I don't know if you guys, you're probably new to or not, there's an award thing that Keller's doing next Wednesday from 10 to 12 at Blue Water Grill.
Oh, yeah,
Invite only,
right.
so I'm not going, I can come here Wednesday morning.
Okay, what time?
What time would be good? Is everybody good Wednesday? How about Wednesday at 10?
10. Okay. Where the heck?
I'm gonna email you every, huh?
You'll email us all?
Yeah, but I'm gonna put this in my calendar now. Do you know about this young man's town? Do you know Mr. Popo, he's a realtor, or what he does? I
haven't heard of.
I have friends that, that seen with you, that played with him or seen.
Played
him
with
a lot.
them? Wow.
He did such this summer, Buster Summers and Mary have both told me what an incredible artist.
Musician?
Guitarist, yeah, I mean, they said. he is so good.
What else, Tim?
No.
I'll stop it.
Y'all are too kind.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm 2 blocks already, but if you want to email me, then I will.
Come here,
Yeah.
we'll do it at 10 o'clock on Wednesday. It'll be a class,
That's good.
but I'll get you set it up on it first, so you'll all have the welcome email. And then we're gonna learn how to use the, I'm sorry. Yeah. So, and you said you sent me the.
Yeah, I did. I sent you my card. I used to have like another separate wallet on my card and I forgot to today. Yes.
Yeah.
Drink up, Shriners.
I'll let you make it go.
All right,
Awesome.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's it. We're done.
We're done.
Yeah, I got,
I'll be-
I've got things to do, places to go, people to see.
and
All right, man, I'll work. I had 201, yeah.
No.
Do you want to, learn about?
Yeah, I think I already, you know what?
I can show you how to do it.
If you can send me an email to get me set up and.
I remember, because I'm gonna put these first
Yeah.
every time working on
Okay.
it.
Then that'll be.
Thank you for enduring my last minute. Attempt.
Good job.
Skills, I'll get done.
Thanks, honey. I'm gonna text you and do it.
Okay,
All right.
no problem. You got it.
All right.
Look at that.
So, that's a question. Yeah. I don't want to. What?
I don't want my, but
So.
my thing, I'm providing them.
Okay, good day.
I love it. I'm all at home.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's.
Phone law keys.
Driving
Every day.
Well, I have another one here.
Yeah.
Well, you can just.
Are you going to?
I'm not. If I have like a bunch of.
All day.
Yeah, but you did it, here we go.
I'm thinking, yeah.
It's too much money for me to, that's right now, I'm trying to. Are you going to?
My stuff.
How long do we need, 5 minutes?
Don't forget to sign in. You We have 2 more classes to go.
Here's the, like, what do you have?
On Monday,
You did it.
No,
You did it.
I can already did my.
I did my.
Yeah, I just took my notes and then I just emailed her notes.
Yeah, I'm too long.
Basically, it's
For 2 hours, look how you bad.
I mean, I did watch a little bit of it. No, it doesn't, but what happens is.
But I can post-
It's doing this for like 4 weeks. Summer. I didn't throw it.
27 pages.
Uh-huh.
Pretty legit, that's a lot of stuff to go back to, all right, yep, and you know, here, whatever.
I try to take like minimal notes. And like. Cause I feel like I have written like too many notes, like my brain is so
Yeah.
paper and then I forget what he's saying and then I wake up again and I'm like, oh my God.
That's true as
So
well.
like, I gotta like,
If I was thinking-
minimal notes, I just write down like little brief things I need to look up. Or whatever, but
You can remember, it's not that cool, I can remember.
yeah,
Right?
I just basically like bullet point, like. What you think was. I wish it was that way though, right, like to see like write down all like, you know, my thoughts and there. Pay attention, you know?
Well, just kind of making up those green items for the day.
Did you submit, that one? Did you comment,
Yeah, I did, so I just passive, so what I did was I just sent her, yeah, I just sent her an email and then I just, like, not even go whatever it was. And then I just put, you know, hey, here are my notes, and then this is it, and then I just put. Just that was good.
different stuff on it?
Yeah, I watched the video and then.
Yeah.